All right, we have our board that's been cut down at the radial arm saw. The next step is to move on to the jointer. So this is the jointer here. The goal of the jointer is to make perfectly flat sides and edges. So the first step, well, one, we should have our name written on the end of each of our board because everyone's going to have a very similar looking board and it's really easy to mix them up. So throw your name on the end of the board, and then the next step, we're going to figure out which face to machine first. And the way we do that is we find out which side is more stable. So we put on this side, it doesn't move too much. Put on this side, it has a little bit of a rock to it. So we're going to want to do this side because it's more stable. So to figure out when we have machined the whole side of the board, we're going to use chalk to help us. So now we will know, once all the chalk marks are gone, then we should have a perfectly flat board. So the goal when we go to this machine is to have a perfectly flat face, but to do it as few times as possible. So once all those chalk marks are gone, you can stop and you can move on to the next part. But we will be using our face pass push stick, which has a little ledge here that will butt up against the end of our board. And then we will use the other face pass pad, which goes here. It even says left hand and thumb. So we put that here, and with this we butt it up against, and we run it across. So how that's going to look is we're over here. We have it tight against the fence and flat on the jointer. We're going to push it across with even pressure and even speed, and we're going to push it all the way across until this gate fully closes, and then we can flip it over and check if all of our chalk marks are gone. If not, repeat as many times as necessary. Again, this machine, eye protection is super important, and it's loud, so if you want, you can put hearing protection on as well. So we can see we still have some chalk marks. We're going to continue until those are all gone. As you can see, all of our chalk marks are now gone. We're going to move on to our edge, but before we do that, so that we remember which one's which, this is our reference face. So we are going to write on here a big RF for reference face. And our next step is to do the edge. So everything is the same, except now we're putting our reference face against this flat fence here. So this is flat and smooth, this is flat and smooth, so they're going to go against each other. And then to figure out when we've machined the whole board, we're going to use chalk again. And since this board sits above the fence here, I'm going to not use a push stick because I'm comfortable with that. If you're not comfortable with that, feel free to use a push stick, but just remember, keep your fingers facing up and run the board completely across. So I'll show you how that goes until all of our chalk is gone. It's the same as before. Now all of our chalk marks are gone here. We've got our RF for reference face. So on this edge, we're going to scribe on an RE for reference edge. So now we have our side piece, our two side pieces that have a reference face and a reference edge. Continue the same thing for your end pieces. And once we have both boards fully machined on the jointer, the next machine we're going to be going to is the thickness planer.